compilation of all these various facts that I have spit out at you about the various Mortal Kombat ninjas. And this compilation goes all the way from Scorpion Sub-Zero all the way to Floyd. So sit back, enjoy, and follow for more good content.
Scorpion! He's the poster boy for Mortal Kombat, but I bet there's a few facts that you didn't know about him. At this point, everyone knows that his birth name is Hanzo Hisashi. But did you know that he might be named after an actual historical figure? A samurai and ninja from the Sengoku era of Japan by the name of Hanzo Hitori. He was the commander of a band of Iga ninjas. He was a master in sword combat, and he had a nickname, Oni no Hanzo, which directly translated means Demon Hanzo. If he's not loosely based off Hitori, then I'd consider that a hell of a coincidence. And speaking of ninjas, Mortal Kombat is famous for its colorful ninjas. But did you know that Scorpion is the only real ninja in the series? As he is the only one that's actually Japanese and is actually proficient in Japanese ninjutsu. While he's a real ninja, Scorpion has never really been the real main character of the Mortal Kombat franchise. Despite that, he's always gotten a lot of special treatment. That's because one of the founders of Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon, has stated that Scorpion is his favorite character in the franchise. He's also the character that Ed has had the most direct influence on, as his famous catchphrase was spoken by Ed Boon himself. Oh, Chinese ninja warrior, who isn't really a ninja. Sub-Zero! And there might be a few things you might not know about him. Well, for starters, there are actually two Sub-Zeros, Bi-Han and Kuai Liang. Bi is the older brother of Kuai and the original Sub-Zero, who held the name in Mortal Kombat 1 as well as Mortal Kombat mythologies. Kuai Liang took over the role as of Mortal Kombat 2 after Bi-Han was killed. So as you can see, the artist known as Sub-Zero has had many names, but did you know that that almost was not his name at all? Originally, he was going to be named Tundra. And later on in the series, Tundra canonically became the original code name of Kuai Liang in the Lin Kuei before he became Sub-Zero in honor of his fallen brother. Now, while Liu Kang is the main character and Scorpion is the favorite of the MK crew, Sub-Zero is the only one that has appeared in every single mainline entry of the Mortal Kombat franchise. And he got his own spin-off, and he appeared as playable in Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, someone else's spin-off. The only game he did not appear in was Mortal Kombat Special Forces. So he got lucky.
Noob Saibot. Without a doubt, one of the most unique characters not just in Mortal Kombat, but in all of fighting games. And I bet there might be a few things that you didn't know about him. Now, Noob made his debut in Mortal Kombat 2 as a secret character that was a solid black silhouette of the ninja sprite. But he would not receive his iconic clone moveset until Mortal Kombat 3. Instead, he had the Scorpion moveset, fatality and all. And just get out of the way, yes, Noob Saibot is Boon and Tobias backwards, the founders of Mortal Kombat. It is known and established that Noob Saibot used to be Bi-Han, the original Sub-Zero. But what is he now? Well, he's not a Revenant, and he's not a Sektor, he's actually a Wraith, who was revived and created by Quan Chi in the Netherrealm. Now, during the 3D era, kind of a dark time in Mortal Kombat history, Noob was reunited with one of his Lin Kuei brethren, Smoke. In MK Deception, the gaseous ninja joined Noob Saibot as a replacement for Noob's clone. Additionally, in Mortal Kombat 9, if you put on Noob Saibot's alternate costume, his clone will be replaced by the classic ninja version of Smoke, reuniting the Lin Kuei brethren. Reptile. The original Lizard Man is a cult favorite, but there might be a few things you didn't know about him. Syzoth, better known as Reptile, is a Saurian from Zatara and is the last of his species. His species was wiped out after losing 10 consecutive tournaments to Outworld, but Reptile was kept alive to serve Shao Kahn. Despite that, there are still other Zatarans. He's just the last Saurian. And speaking of being last, did you know that Reptile was originally not going to be in the 1995 movie? After initial filming had wrapped, they realized the runtime was a little short and they wanted one more action scene. So they came up with the Reptile fight. Thank goodness they did, because that fight and that song both slap. Now, Mortal Kombat is famous for its secrets, and Reptile was the very first one. And a well-guarded secret at that. As in the game, you had to be fighting in the pit, there had to be silhouettes passing by the moon, you had to get a double flawless victory, ending with a fatality, and having not blocked the entire match. Only then could you face Reptile. And then he was still just a green version of Scorpion, but at the time, it was mind-blowing. And it started a fantastic lineage of secrets that still continues to this day.
Mileena.
The monstrous mistress is without a doubt the most popular lady in all of Mortal Kombat, but there might be a few things you didn't know about her. Born in the flesh pits, Mileena was created for Shao Kahn to be a more obedient replacement for his stepdaughter, Kitana. But why the dash of chemical T in the Mileena suit? Well, Shao Kahn didn't just want a new daughter, he also wanted a psychotically murderous assassin. Help put fear into his enemies, you know, all that good tyrannical stuff. Now, Mileena has always been the resident sex symbol of Mortal Kombat, and the MK crew has not been shy about leaning into it with her more than any other character, and while she's still an aggressive pervert in MK11, her sexuality peaked in MK9, as when you complete the 300 challenge tower, the reward is this costume, and the achievement Best Alternate Ever. Now, as it's Pride Month, I would be remiss to not mention that Mileena is the first lesbian representation in all of Mortal Kombat, having a canon relationship with Tanya, even having a kid? Don't ask questions. That in mind, she does technically swing both ways, as she has had a relationship with Raiko, Goro, and Baraka. So I guess technically Tanya's the first lesbian, but hey, Mileena's part of that too. Kitana, the princess named after a sword who fights with, of course, bladed fans. And there might be a few facts that you didn't know about her. Now, this beautiful young princess of various realms is the daughter of Sindel and King Jared, before being adopted by Shao Kahn after he killed King Jared during his conquest of the realm. And when I say young, she is very young, at the ripe age of only 10,000 years old. It really makes you wonder how the whole King Jared secret got kept for 10,000 years. Now, Kitana's always been a big kisser. Her first ever fatality, in fact, being the Kiss of Death, where she'd kiss you on the cheek, and then you would explode. This was her signature way to end her opponents in every appearance that she had from Mortal Kombat 2 all the way up until MK9, where it was for some reason missing. And it stayed gone until Mortal Kombat 11, where it returned in the form of a brutality. This strange fatality was inspired by the death of Mr. Big in the James Bond movie Live and Let Die. And lastly, in the pre-DLC final fight of the Mortal Kombat 11 story mode, if you manage to beat Kronika without losing a single round, you will see Liu Kang going back, forward, and grabbing Kitana out of the time stream to be his companion and Queen of Time. Now, this obviously was not the canon ending, and it really makes you wonder what will Kitana and Liu Kang's relationship be in this new era, if anything. Rain. This demigod is the most elusive ninja in the Mortal Kombat series, and there might be a few things that you didn't know about him. Yes, his entire existence is based off of the Prince song. Getting that out of the way now. Now, as I said previously, Rain is a demigod, being the son of the god, not elder god, Argus, and a mortal Edenian woman named Amara. He's also the brother of Taven and Dagon, but we don't care about them. Now, Rain's moveset has always been extremely unique, with the most identifiable move of his being his crazy roundhouse, where he kicks you, you fly through one side of the screen, and then come out the other. Now, this extremely silly move never had a real answer to how the hell it worked until MK11, where it was revealed that he was kicking you through a portal that would go through space and time and send you back out the other side. A very peculiar trait that Rain has is that he is the most protected ninja in all of Mortal Kombat. As he was never in the arcades, he only debuted in the home console ports of UMK3 and MK Trilogy. He was then not playable again until Mortal Kombat Armageddon. He was paid DLC in MK9, he was non-playable in X, and he's paid DLC in 11. Let's see if he shows up in 1, shall we? Smoke. Or you can call him by his real name, Thomas Verbata. Boom! A fact you didn't know right off the bat, because I didn't know that either until I started writing this script. Anyway, this gaseous ninja is one of the sneakiest of them all, and there's probably a few things that you didn't know about him. Smoke made his debut in Mortal Kombat 2, and holds the unique honor of being the only character to be a secret 3 times. In MK2, where he made his debut as just a full-on secret boss. MK3, where you had Cyber Smoke, but if you held a secret code, then you could get Human Smoke. And in Mortal Kombat 9, where you put on Noob Saibot's MK2 outfit, you would get Human Smoke to help you with your fatalities. Now, when you think of Smoke, you usually think of this guy or this guy, but very rarely do people think of this guy. That's because it was really weird and was only playable in Armageddon. The only other time that it was kind of playable was in Deception, as he was part of Noob Smoke. Remember that dynamic duo? You see, as Noob had found Smoke in the bowels of Shao Kahn's fortress in the torture chambers, his cybernetic body was lying there lifeless, until Smoke was able to activate his unspecified nanotechnology, which reshaped his artificial body and turning him into a bad guy from a late 90s anti-smoking PSA. Lastly, we're going to touch on another fan favorite, this being Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. While Liu and Kung took the spotlight of the actual game, Smoke had a nice little starring role in it as a side quest peddler. During the campaign of Shaolin Monks, you could run into and find Smoke, and he would give you smoke missions. If you manage to complete the 5 different missions, in addition to getting a nice little XP boost, you will also unlock Mortal Kombat 2 inside of MK Shaolin Monks. 2 for the price of 1 seems to be a common theme with Smoke for some reason. Tremor. The most underrated and underplayed ninja in all of Mortal Kombat, and I'm sure there's a few things you didn't know about. Well, for starters, everyone knows that Tremor is the Earth Ninja, and his ability is called geokinesis. But he can do more than just toss around rocks. He can also control lava, gold, all sorts of metal, and even crystal. Eat your heart out, tough. Now, Tremor was actually originally intended to be playable in Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but for undetermined reasons, he ended up getting beaten out and replaced with Rain. The Water Ninja beat the Rock Ninja. What is this, Pokemon? Now, Tremor did eventually make his debut in Mortal Kombat Special Forces, which while being a terrible game, he was an awesome concept, which led to him being the only character that debuted in that game to appear in another game. He would make his playable debut in Mortal Kombat X, and also made a special guest appearance in the Challenge Tower of the PlayStation Vita, specifically port of Mortal Kombat 9. Now, I implore you, Netherrealm, you did this with Skarlet. You made her DLC character in 9 and then made her real in 11. Do the same thing with Tremor in 1, please. Skarlet. This glitch turned flesh was a favorite of the MK Underground. There might be a few things that you didn't know about her. In Mortal Kombat 2, a graphical glitch would occasionally cause Kitana's outfit to turn red, because the suits that the actors wore were red. However, that simple explanation was not the fun answer, so rumors of a secret red ninja called the Lady in Red began to swirl. This is very similar to what happened to Ermac in MK1. With that, Skarlet became the first ever community creation to be made flesh and put into an actual MK game. Now, some would argue that was Ermac, but I would say no, because at least he had a name. Debuting in MK9, Skarlet was a creation of Shao Kahn made out of the blood of fallen warriors to be his personal bodyguard. And through this blood magic, she could absorb the power of her fallen foes, gaining strength with every ounce of blood she drank. However, in MK11, it was retconned that she was just a lowly street urchin that Shao Kahn adopted and taught blood magic to. Overall, I like MK11 Skarlet more, but I really like her backstory in 9 more. Now, as a blood wizard, Skarlet loves blood. Drink it, stab people with it, bathe in it, whatever. And while she can drink lizard blood and blue stuff like it's Coca-Cola, there's one kind of blood that she can't stomach, and that is chitin blood. What's a chitin, you ask? Well, that'd be Devora. That bug bitch just ruins everything. Jade! This gem of a woman is the only good thing to have ever happened to Kotal Khan. There might be a few facts that you didn't know about her. Jade was one of 3 characters who debuted in Mortal Kombat 2 as secrets. Her secret being that on the fight in arcade mode, before the question mark, you had to defeat your opponent only using low kicks. If you did that, then you got to fight Jade, which was just green katana, but still cool. And then she would make her official debut in MK3. Now, Jade has had many hats: spy, assassin, bodyguard, but most of all, friend. She always has had a close relationship with Kitana, and when Kitana defected from Shao Kahn, Jade was sent to hunt her down, beat her ass, and bring her back to the Khan. However, instead, Jade decided to join Kitana's rebellion, and in the original timeline, she helped unbewitch Sindel, completely thwarting Shao Kahn's plans. Jade, despite being a very popular character with the fanbase, has made very few appearances outside of the games, barely being in comic books, movies, TV shows, etc. In fact, in Mortal Kombat 1995, there's going to be a fight scene between her and Sonya Blade. It wasn't just to be any fight scene, it's going to be a secret hidden Easter egg on the DVD version of the movie. As cool as that would have been, the idea was cut due to time constraints. And we don't talk about the second movie. Oh, and I forgot one more hat that's stacked on top of Jade's head, and that is Rebel Leader. In Deception, in the Conquest mode, you can see that Jade is the leader of the Edenian freedom fighters, who, among other things, are trying to hunt down the self-proclaimed Prince of Edenia, Rain. And you, as Shujinko, can go run across town and go talk to Rain, giving him a piece of information that leads to him running right into an ambush from Jade and friends, leading to her beating his ass and killing him.
Purple. Rain chooses his wardrobe most curiously.
Frost! This rebellious teenager slash murderous cryomancer is one of the few gems from the 3D era. There may be a few facts that you didn't know about her. This icy girl is not the easiest person to get along with. However, there was one non-evil person that she did vibe with, at least for a while, and that was Raiden. Now, Frost has always been extremely ambitious, her main goal always being to be the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei. A feat not just unattainable for most people, but especially for her, as traditional Lin Kuei values would dictate that women are not fit to be members of the Lin Kuei clan, much less lead it. However, in her Deadly Alliance arcade ending, it is shown that it is not her femininity that makes her non-fit to lead the Lin Kuei, it is her overconfidence. As she would steal the Dragon Medallion from Kuai Liang, would overpower her, leading to her losing control of her cryomancy, freezing into a big old frost sickle. Where she would then be taken to the Lin Kuei temple and left until the events of Armageddon, where she would be freed from her icy encasement by Taven. But not just that, she also has her eyes on world domination. It is said in her Armageddon ending that after she defeated Blaze, she got the dragon amulet back. This time, it didn't freeze her. She became the all-powerful cryomancer she was always destined to be. She went back to the Lin Kuei temple, resurrected all the passed-away Lin Kuei, and used them to destroy the world. And in her 11 ending, it is shown that she goes full-on time tyrant, using the Lin Kuei and the Hourglass to go through time, executing anybody and everybody who would ever oppose her vision or what she wants to do in any way, and turning the whole world into a frozen winter wonderland. And yet, she got beaten up by a pre-MKX Cassie Cage. What a shame. Chameleon! Medallion and their partner, Chameleon. These transparent ninjas were stealing their peers' movesets long before Mokujin and Marionette, and there may be a few facts that you didn't know about them. Now, this duo of Zaterrans made their debut in Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but not technically in the same game. Chameleon made her debut in the N64 version, whereas Chameleon made his debut in the PC, PlayStation, and Sega Saturn versions of the game. And this pattern continued again, with Chameleon being on the PlayStation and Xbox versions of Armageddon, where Chameleon was only on the Wii version. Someone at Nintendo must have a Chameleon body pillow or something. In their Armageddon arcade endings, it is shown that Chameleon has a little bit more ambition than her counterpart, Chameleon. After defeating Blaze, Chameleon turns her attention to Shao Kahn for destroying Zaterra and her people, using the power of Blaze to forcefully turn him into a raptor creature like Reptile, and making him serve her wishes. Then all of his comrades suffered the same fate. But then Chameleon lost control of her power and turned all of her allies into raptors as well, thus reigniting the full power of Zaterra. Whereas Chameleon's ending is he turned invisible and ran up the pyramid when nobody was looking. He killed Blaze, and now after being hidden for the last 6 games, he's now going to reveal himself as existing now that he's snuck his way into being a god. What a hero. And to be honest, that's about it for these two. They look really cool, but they don't have a lot going on character-wise. Ermac, the Master of Souls, and there may be a few facts that you didn't know about him. Ermac got his start in Mortal Kombat 1992 as a bug, where when you were playing Scorpion, his suit would turn red and the name in the health bar would change to ERMAC, which was short code for error macro, indicating that there was a glitch in the game. However, this famous origin has been debunked, being completely refuted by the creators of Mortal Kombat, as well as tons of people attempting to recreate the error macro glitch and failing. However, the fact that this was complete fiction did not stop the Mortal Kombat crew from leaning into it, with 2 different Easter eggs in Mortal Kombat 2. But he would eventually make his true debut in UMK3. Now, Ermac is a conglomeration of thousands of souls, one of these souls being the, once again, late great King Jared. And in MKX, it's implied that, ironically, another one of the souls that Ermac might possess is Shao Kahn after he was killed by the Elder Gods. Ermac is a staple of the jobber side of the bad guys, alongside Reptile and Baraka. However, did you know that in the 3D era, Ermac was actually a good guy? After his creator, Shao Kahn, had been killed by the Deadly Alliance, Ermac was left without purpose, wandering the realms in search of a new master. That is until he met Kenshi, who pitied the soulful Frankenstein's monster and used his telekinetic abilities to sever what connection that he had left to Shao Kahn. With this connection broken, Ermac's mind was cleared, and he realized the grievous crimes that he had taken a part of, leading to him joining the good guys in an attempt to redeem himself in the battle against Onaga, and eventually the Battle of Armageddon. Now, obviously, this face turn was not meant to last, as the Mortal Kombat 9 reboot happened, reset everything, and Ermac was reintroduced as a member of the bad guys. This time as early as the first tournament, despite that in the OG timeline, he did not appear until Earthrealm's invasion. And with this early introduction came another new addition to the canon, being that Ermac is the one that ripped off Jax's arms. Hydro! This long-forgotten member of the Lin Kuei held the mantle of Water Ninja long before the Prince reference was ever made. There might be a few facts that you didn't know about him. By the way, if you haven't followed yet, go ahead and do that. I promise you won't get wet, unless you want to. This hydronamic ninja made his debut in Mortal Kombat Blood and Thunder comic book series in October 1994. That's right, 94. Rain made his debut in UMK3 on October 6th, 1995. Now, in the Blood and Thunder comics, Hydra was Sub-Zero's comrade who was traveling with him. When the two of them got separated, Scorpion hunted down Hydra in order to get back at Sub-Zero for ing him. So Hydra did not last long in his debut. Now you may be wondering, why do they have 2 different water-based ninjas in the same year period? And why did Hydra get the boot in favor of Rain? Well, the answer to that is unclear. Ed Boon hasn't talked much about Hydra, and neither has anyone else besides fans, for the last 29 years. So we don't have a solid answer as to why Hydra got the boot. While he missed the mark for being playable, Hydra made his triumphant return in the 2011 web series Mortal Kombat Legacy, where he was now known as a Unit LK1v1, one of the very first of the Lin Kuei to be cyberized and the oldest at the age of 50. Cyber Hydra was brought out to face the freshly cyberized Cyrax and Sektor in combat and test their abilities. Then you've got his most recent starring role in Mortal Kombat 11 as an assist token that you can use in the challenge towers. Which, isn't that way better than him being playable, a cameo, or even an NPC in the story? Cyber Initiative, the movement that officially moved Mortal Kombat from just a magical martial arts series into the realm of sci-fi, and there may be a few facts that you didn't know about it. First off, what is the Cyber Initiative? Well, it's a movement started by the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei to make them the greatest League of Assassins in the world. The initiative had two primary goals: to increase the Lin Kuei's killing capabilities and completely remove any free will or decision-making from the members, making them unquestioning killing machines using their brains as the ultimate processor. That said, the term Cyber Initiative actually was not introduced until Mortal Kombat 9, where it has stuck from there. Now, the Cyber Initiative has been performed on 7 characters that we care about: Sektor, Cyrax, Smoke, Sub-Zero, Frost, Hydro, and everyone's favorite, Triborg. And of the 7, only 3 of them did it voluntarily that we know of: Sektor, Frost, and Triborg. And 2 of them actually had the process reversed. Additionally, in Mortal Kombat 11, Frost actually had a fatality where she would steal her opponent's brain and send it to the Cyber Lin Kuei factory to have it put into a Cyber Lin Kuei body, actively feeding the Lin Kuei machine. So in Frost's alternate timeline, new era, whatever you want to call it, there might actually be a whole fleet of characters like Baraka, Kitana, Scorpion, who are all acting as Cyber Lin Kuei. Sektor, also known as Unit LK99. Maybe a few facts you didn't know about him. Debuting in Mortal Kombat 3 alongside Cyrax and Cyber Smoke, Sektor made a splash with the Mortal Kombat community, like a dropped bottle of ketchup. And I'm not saying that just like some kind of weird joke. During the development of Mortal Kombat 3, Sektor's codename was Ketchup, alongside Cyrax, who was Mustard. And speaking of Cyrax, Sektor is synonymous with his yellow buddy/rival. And this isn't just because they debuted in the same game where they're both robots. This is because Sektor has never been in a Mortal Kombat game without Cyrax. Yes, from Mortal Kombat 3 all the way to Mortal Kombat 11, a trait which is not shared, as in the base port of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Cyrax was going at it alone, and Sektor would not show up until the handheld port. Now, Sektor has always been one of the biggest supporters of the Cyber Initiative, so much so that in the new era, Sektor will be heading up the program. Now, he was such a big fanboy of this, not just because he was a big fan of RoboCop as a kid, but because he was the son of the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei, and he wanted to support the family business. That is until his programming got corrupted, leading to him killing his father and attempting to take the title of Grand Master, as a glitch in his programming had made him determine that his father was not as good of a Grand Master as he could be. However, after doing this, Sektor did not hold the title of Grand Master for long, as Sub-Zero ran him off. And he went and started his own non-canon clan. And lastly, did you know that Sektor actually is the original Triborg? Yes, because in Armageddon, Sektor's arcade ending stated that after he defeated Blaze, he became linked with his cyber brethren, Smoke and Cyrax, and they became one mind and one body. Sounds kind of like Triborg, don't it? Cyrax, also known as Unit LK4D4. Maybe a few facts you don't know about him. Cyrax made his debut in Mortal Kombat 3 alongside Sektor in Cyberized Smoke. And that being the case, there was actually a rumor going around for a while that Cyrax was actually a cyberized version of Scorpion. You see, because in MK2, Smoke was a normal ninja who was now a robot. Scorpion was missing from the MK3 roster, Cyrax was also yellow, and Cyrax also had a move where he would throw someone out and bring you back to him for a free hit. So all those context clues and similarities led people to believe that Cyrax was secretly Scorpion, which didn't obviously end up being the case. One of the most memorable traits about Cyrax is his tendency to get stuck in the desert. And while it's a funny visual, you ever wonder what he's doing out there? Well, that's because during the events of MK3, Sub-Zero was able to incapacitate Cyrax and reprogram him to assassinate Shao Kahn. However, once Shao Kahn was defeated, Cyrax was left wandering, waiting for some command of what to do now that would never come. He ended up wandering into the desert and getting stuck without a purpose. That is, until special forces located him, retrieved him, and reinstated his free will. You can also occasionally see Cyrax stuck in the desert in MK9. Now, Cyrax is a cult favorite in Mortal Kombat, and one of those reasons is because of his incredibly unique moveset. His energy net, his bombs, his unique way of teleporting, and the cherry on top of the sundae is Cyrax's iconic Annihilation fatality, where he pops open his chest, covers the stage in little bombs, and blows up the entire Earth. Except it's a lie, as Cyrax actually stole that fatality from Smoke. You see, in Mortal Kombat 3, Cyrax did indeed have a self-exploding fatality, but it only affected himself and his opponent. It was Smoke who blew up the Earth. But in MK Gold, Cyrax was given the blow up the Earth fatality, and it became synonymous with him, leading to him getting it again in MK1. And speaking of MK1, there has been some leaked information implying that in this new era, Cyrax might be a girl. So I guess we'll have to stay tuned and see how that turns out. Triborg, the culmination of the Cyber Initiative. Maybe a few facts that you didn't know about him. Debuting in MKX, and so far their only real appearance, Triborg entered the combat zone as part of X's Combat Pack 2 DLC, being a conglomeration of all the cyber ninjas. One thing that makes Triborg especially special and allows them to perform all the feats that Cyrax and Sektor can do is that they are not technically a cyborg. They are through and through fully cybernetic, with no bones or flesh limiting them, aka just a robot. That said, where did Triborg come from? If they weren't a member of the Lin Kuei who was cyberized, how do they exist? Well, you see, the Grand Master, prior to his death and the dismantling of the Lin Kuei, had all of the cyber ninjas do extensive combat training. He then took that data, downloaded it, and uploaded it onto a new, even more perfect cyber initiate. However, he was unfortunately unable to activate this unit before the shit went down. And post shit going down, the Special Forces rolled in and found this last unit. They decided to take it and do experiments on it, but inadvertently awakened Triborg, who slaughtered everybody in the Special Forces facility and went out into the world with the intent to genocide all organic life. Now, the name Triborg is actually a little misleading, because he is not limited to just 3, as he has a secret 4th Borg. As in MKX, when you're on the character select screen, you pick Triborg, and then you can choose from Sektor, Cyrax, Smoke. But if you double tap up on your D-pad and press the Y/triangle button, you will unlock the secret variation Cyber Sub-Zero. And it's a shame Triborg's non-canon, because I bet him and Frost would have gotten along fabulously. Scorpion! We're in a new era of Mortal Kombat, and with that comes a few new facts that you may not know about him. Now, it's already known that in this game, Scorpion is no longer Hanzo Hasashi. He is now Kuai Liang, the guy who, in an alternate timeline, was the 3rd Sub-Zero. And in addition, is now, or at least was, a member of the Lin Kuei under his brother, the Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei, Bi-Han Sub-Zero, and Smoke. However, though, through the story, you see Sub-Zero betray his brother, causing him and Smoke to break off to go form their own clan. Now, in this new era, we have Harumi, who is no longer just Scorpion's murdered wife. In fact, she's not dead at all. She is the head of her own clan in Japan, where Kuai Liang Scorpion ran to for assistance against the Lin Kuei. Together, Kuai Liang and Harumi Shirai formed a new clan, got married, and called it the Shirai Ryu, which Scorpion insisted be named after his blushing bride. In addition, this whole situation with Harumi is what caused the events of Season 1 of Invasions Mode, as Alt-Timeline Scorpion has been bouncing between timelines, trying to find an alive Harumi, and this was the first one that he found, and seeing her married to his arch-enemy drove him mad. That is until Liu Kang grabbed Scorpion and helped him find a different timeline, one that he had missed, with a Scorpion Harumi. In this timeline, Hanzo was the one that had been killed by Quan Chi, and Harumi was the one who was consumed with the spirit of vengeance. So Liu took Hanzo, threw him into that timeline, and the two Scorpions lived bloody ever after. And speaking of Hanzo, in this new timeline, he might not be Scorpion, but he is still around. Hanzo is now a child and the first ever initiate into the Shirai Ryu, Smoke having discovered the boy during an attempted robbery of desperation. After Smoke beat up the child, he took him to Scorpion, who saw the boy's fire and welcomed him into the clan with open arms. In addition, Liu Kang is personally assisting Scorpion and Smoke on how to deal with young Hanzo, warning them of his anger and advising they keep an especially close eye on the boy. Also telling him how to f*** Scorpion's wife.
You still haven't told me how you know Harumi.
Only she can tell you.
Sub-Zero. Bi-Han is back and badder than ever, and there may be a few new facts that you don't know about him. In this new era, Bi-Han is the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei after the death of his father, a death that Bi-Han could have prevented, except he chose not to, as he felt that his father was too weak and feckless to lead the Lin Kuei to their true destiny of being one of the most powerful forces in all of Earthrealm. In addition to that, he's the one who slashed Kuai Liang's face, giving him his scar. So, in this timeline, Bi-Han's not exactly a family man. Something you realize upon the completion of the MK1 story is that this is the first time in Mortal Kombat history that Bi-Han has survived the events of the first tournament. In the OG and MK9 timelines, he dies in the first tournament. In the 1995 movie, he dies in the first tournament. In Scorpion's Revenge, he dies in the first tournament. So he may have become a total bastard, but it seems he's doing something right this time around. Being the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei, Bi-Han has high expectations for his clan. He wants to expand them from a simple group of magic martial artists to their very own recognized nation state. And he knows that it's going to take more than a couple ice balls to accomplish this. So he turns to his close friend and ally, Sektor. As in his arcade ending, you see that Bi-Han has spoken with Sektor, and Sektor has pitched the idea of bringing in cyberized Lin Kuei warriors, thus kicking off the cyber initiative in this new era. The cyborgs are coming back, hopefully. Reptile, also known as Syzoth. This lizard man got one of the best reimaginings of the new era, and with that comes a few new facts you may not have known about. One thing about Reptile in the new timeline that greatly separates him from his previous iteration is he is no longer a full-on lizard person. Now he can shapeshift from a big lizard monster to a normal guy, which made him a social pariah among his fellow lizard monsters, the Saterans. You may be wondering, why does that make him an exile? Just because he can shapeshift? Well, yes, plus some more reasons. Think about it like he's a werewolf to them, but instead of going from a human to a big monster, he goes from a big monster to a human. After being outcast, Saibot joined a traveling carnival, using his shape-shifting abilities for little more than a sideshow. And in the show is where he met Shang Tsung. And speaking of Shang, did you notice that Reptile and Shang in this game are direct parallels of each other? They were both evil in the previous timeline, and now in this timeline, they're both social outcasts who are forced to scrounge in the dirt to make a living. But Reptile, in the face of this adversity, started a family and tried to make an honest living, whereas Shang became a scam artist and eventually turned to the dark side. Now Reptile's shapeshifting. His ability to go from a sexy human to a lizard person is the first time we've seen this in a Mortal Kombat game, but it is not the first time that we've seen it in the franchise. You see, in the Mortal Kombat television show Conquest, there's a pair of sexy ladies, Kiri and Anka, who take Kung Lao and lure him into a private setting before turning into reptiles attempting to kill him. I doubt that the writers of MK1 did this on purpose, but it is a hell of a coincidence. And on the subject of sexy ladies, Reptile bagged himself one, as after the events of the MK1 story and T-Slightly Inside story, he ended up getting with the demoness herself, Ashra. You can hear their relationship referenced a few times, even directly by them, in several different intro dialogues. And you know what? Good for them. Speaking of things that Reptile finds very tasty, Reptile has a brutality in MK1 where he'll take his opponent, slam them down, bite their arm off, and then bite a chunk out of their side, before looking at the camera and going, yummy. This is a reference to his MK2 fatality. And doubling back to where this all began, remember how I mentioned that Reptile was a social outcast because of some lore reasons? Well, the said lore reasons can be found in his arcade ending, where after returning to his homeland and now bearing Mileena's royal seal, he found a trove of official records stating that his Zaterran werewolfism is not exclusive to just him. Apparently, many Zaterrans are born with it, but they are just, disposed of as soon as it manifests. However, it is unknown who instated this policy of ethnic cleansing, nor who enforces it. The lizard people have a shadow government that's pulling the strings from behind the scenes. There's an irony there somewhere. Sektor, the head of the Cyber Initiative, is returning to Mortal Kombat 1 with the Chaos Reigns expansion. Maybe a few more facts that you didn't know about them. Sektor was the original cyborg, debuting in Mortal Kombat 3 alongside Cyrax, having been the first member of the Lin Kuei to be willingly cyberized and indoctrinated into the program. And everyone knows by now that Sektor in Mortal Kombat 1 is no longer a cyborg that was gutted and placed into a cybernetic shell, Robocop style. Sektor is now a lady wearing a suit of power armor. However, this is not the first time that we've seen Sektor in the flesh, as that was in MK9, where his first couple of appearances in the story mode, he's still in his squishy human form. And unlike Cyrax, this was indeed the first time in Mortal Kombat history that we had ever seen his true face. Going back in time to Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Sektor played quite a big role in the Conquest mode, with the official debut of the Tekuken, Sektor's personal cybernetic ninja clan that was established in Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition. They kidnap Taven at the end of level 1 and take him up to their mothership for questioning at Sektor's hands. But many people don't realize that Sektor had been watching and following Taven since the game began, as you can find Sektor spying on you pretty much as soon as you start Conquest mode. Once you get to the first golden chest by Kira and Cobra, if you turn around and swing at the air, you will hit and hear an invisible Sektor. Yes! Holy I got him! As for Sektor's appearance in Mortal Kombat 1, first off, she is Madame Bo's daughter, which makes a lot of sense because at the beginning of the MK1 story mode, Liu Kang, Madame Bo, and the Lin Kuei were all homies who worked together. So it's a logical leap that the Madame would have enrolled her daughter in the Lin Kuei program. Another big change in Sektor's presentation is that she is now a girl, but they might not have always been the intention. If you watch Sub-Zero's arcade ending, it alludes to Sektor setting up the Cyber Initiative, and while they kept it fairly vague, you can tell by the hair and the facial structure that they were not fully committed to gender-bending Sektor in the initial story. Plus, when you take into account Bihan's previous era misogyny, it's possible the plan originally was to keep the Cybers as males, or at least Sektor is so. And possibly the biggest change, people have been upset about the fact that the Cyber Initiative is now just power armor, saying that it undercuts the horrors of the cyberizing process. But with this intro dialogue,
The armor's just a first step, isn't it?
You will find out in time.
it teases that the worst may be yet to come. Combat Kitty, the most fearsome cat since Kintaro. Maybe a few facts that you didn't know about her. Raised by the Shiryu, the Combat Kitty was found in a dumpster by the youngest member of the clan, Hanzo Hisashi, as him and some of his clanmates were disposing of some bodies after a successful mission. Initially, Scorpion was hesitant to take it astray, but quickly learned that she was no ordinary cat. That and his wife Harumi said that she wanted to keep her, so his hands were tied. But she needed a name. Harumi wanted to call her Cookie because she looked like a snickerdoodle. Hanzo wanted to call her Dumpster because he found her in a dumpster. So they decided to combine the two names, giving her official name, Dumpster Cookie. The task of training her was given to Smoke, and under his his tutelage, she learned to use her claws as deadly weapons, learning to rip out throats, tear out eyes, and disembowel with ninja-like precision. The Shiryu quickly realized that having a warrior so small, agile, and flexible was a great asset to the clan. Through her service to the Shiryu, the Combat Kitty has over 400 kills under her belt, including members of the Lin Kuei, members of the Black Dragon, including Kira, and she was actually at the Battle of the Pyramid of Armageddon, and she is the one who took out the alternate timeline Natara, known as Frostbite. After many successful missions, the Combat Kitty found herself tired of the blood. She turned in her mask and left the clan on good terms. She began wandering the streets looking for accommodations, until one day a beautiful young woman came and found her and brought her home. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Follow for more MK content.
Floyd, the newest Mortal Kombat ninja and the latest and greatest secret in the MK series. Maybe a few facts that you didn't know about him.
And stick around to the end where I'll tell you how to fight him.
Let's start off with, who is Floyd? He is the newest ninja in the realms of Mortal Kombat, as well as being the latest secret. Think like Reptile from the original Mortal Kombat, and like Reptile, his moveset is composed entirely of moves from other characters, mostly his fellow ninjas. It's not a laziness thing, it's tradition. And then his name, Floyd. There are no coincidences in Mortal Kombat, and it is no coincidence that the pink ninja is named Floyd. This ninja and his name are a reference to the band Pink Floyd, famous for Wish You Were Here, Comfortably Numb, and of course, The Wall. And this is not the first time the MK crew has named a ninja after a famous music thing, as Rain was named after the Prince album / song, Purple Rain, and Tremor was named after this famous track by Dimitri Vegas. While Floyd just came into being as the latest ninja and secret in Mortal Kombat 1, the idea has been around for a minute. Ed Boon first said out loud that the next MK ninja he wanted to make would be pink during a Game Informer interview from 2019.
Came up with a new ninja, what color would it be?
Pink.
But the idea of a pink ninja named Floyd has been floating around out there for longer than that. With this tweet from Ed Boon from 2012. RT at Matt Bodega. Why is there no pink MK ninja named Floyd? EB. Damn it, why did you suggest that during MK3? Well, guess what, Matt? We got him now. How to unlock Floyd? The question on everyone's minds is this: how do I get to Floyd in Mortal Kombat 1? For starters, no, you can't buy him, and no, you won't be able to. It's not that kind of a thing. Floyd is not a playable character, he is a challenge to be overcome. While you won't unlock Floyd himself, defeating this fluorescent fighter does come with its perks, as you unlock a bunch of new palettes, some new stuff for your profile, and most importantly, you get the dope-ass Field of Grass stage that was modeled after the reveal trailer for this game. Now, God bless the Finny, who was the first person to really crack the code and help us all figure out what the hell we were trying to do. So, full credit to them. For how to fight him, it's simple yet complicated. You have to complete 10 of approximately 37 different challenges, or Floyd hints. These challenges are based off the various hints from different Seasons of Invasions mode, as well as some unique ones. These challenges include things like do an animality, get double flawless as Johnny with Sonya as a cameo, win without jumping, and get to the top of the pyramid in chapter 15 of the story mode. And everyone's challenges are different, meaning that while I may have to do challenges 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, 13, 17, 20, 23, and 30, you may have to do challenges 3, 5, 8, 11, 13, 14, 20, 24, 30, 35. So the only real way to know for sure what the hell you need to do is to try them all out, and also try out some random stuff like get a double flawless as Xiao versus Sindel, or win as Johnny only using nut punches. Things that make, kind of thematic sense. You can do these challenges in local multiplayer versus the CPU, arcade towers, and Towers of Time. And once you get the 10 different Floyd hints that you need, the screen will shatter like glass, and you're off to the races. Keep in mind, it is a tough fight, but you get a couple of retries if you do fail. And if you win, then you get both reward and bragging rights.
Enter the Netherrealm.